As the journey advances into an even more refined stage, you begin to realize that mastery is not about doing more, but about doing things with greater precision. Because now you have enough experience to see the difference between effort and effectiveness, between simply creating content and creating content that truly resonates, and this awareness changes the way you approach everything, making you more focused, more selective, and more intentional with your work. You start to notice that small details have a big impact. The exact wording of your opening line, the timing of a pause, the shift in your tone, the choice of background music. All these elements that once felt secondary now become central to your process. Because at this level, it is not the big changes that improve your content. It is the refinement of the small ones. Your understanding of audience behavior deepens further. You begin to see patterns not just in what people watch, but in how they think, what triggers their emotions, what keeps them engaged, what makes them reflect. And this insight allows you to craft your content more effectively, aligning your message with the psychological needs of your viewers. At the same time, you develop a stronger sense of creative discipline, learning to create even when inspiration is low, because you understand that waiting for the perfect moment is not a reliable strategy, and that consistency built on discipline is far more powerful than occasional bursts of motivation. And this shift helps you maintain momentum even during difficult phases. As the journey reaches an even more advanced stage, you begin to understand that true power in content creation comes not just from skill or consistency, but from clarity of purpose, because by now you have seen enough ups and downs to realize that without a strong internal reason driving your work, it becomes easy to lose direction. And this is where many creators, even talented ones, start to fade. Not because they can't create, but because they no longer know why they are creating. You start asking deeper questions, not about what will perform well, but about what actually matters, what kind of message you want to leave behind, what kind of impact you want your content to have over time. And this shift in thinking transforms your approach, because now every video becomes part of a bigger vision rather than just a standalone piece of content. At the same time, you begin to realize that influence is built on trust. And trust is built on consistency, not just in uploading, but in authenticity. In staying true to your message even when trends suggest otherwise. Because while trends can bring temporary attention, only authenticity builds long-term connection. And this understanding helps you avoid the trap of chasing relevance at the cost of your identity. Your storytelling evolves into something more sophisticated, where you are no longer just presenting ideas, but guiding experiences, leading your audience through emotional journeys that challenge their thinking, shift their perspective, and leave them with something meaningful to reflect on. And this depth is what separates impactful creators from those who are easily forgotten. But with this level of growth also comes a quieter challenge, the risk of becoming too comfortable, because once you reach a certain level of stability, it becomes tempting to repeat what works rather than explore what could work better. And this comfort, while subtle, can slowly limit your potential if you are not aware of it. So you push yourself to keep evolving, to question your own patterns, to experiment with new ideas, to step outside your usual style, even when it feels uncertain. Because you understand that growth requires discomfort, and staying within familiar boundaries may feel safe but rarely leads to significant progress. Your awareness of impact deepens further. You start seeing your content not just as videos but as influence, something that can shape thoughts, decisions, even behaviors. And this realization adds a layer of responsibility to your work, making you more intentional about what you say and how you say it. You also begin to value longevity over quick success, understanding that building something meaningful takes time, that consistency over years matters more than spikes over days. And this long-term mindset allows you to stay patient, to keep building steadily without being distracted by short-term fluctuations. At this stage, your confidence becomes rooted in your process rather than your results, because you have seen enough to know that outcomes can vary, but effort, improvement, and consistency are always within your control, and this mindset keeps you stable even when external validation is unpredictable. In the end, this phase teaches you that true success is not just about growth, but about alignment. Aligning your work with your purpose, your message with your values, and your actions with your words. Because when everything is aligned, your content does not just reach people, it resonates with them. And that resonance is what creates lasting impact. But as your skills sharpen, so does your awareness of competition. You begin to see more creators entering the space, more voices, more content. And this can either discourage you or push you to elevate your own standards, And those who succeed are the ones who use competition as a catalyst for growth rather than a reason to doubt themselves. You also begin to understand the importance of adaptability, recognizing that platforms evolve, audience preferences shift, and what works today may not work tomorrow. And this keeps you flexible, open to change, willing to experiment, ensuring that your content remains relevant without losing its core identity. Your confidence becomes more stable, no longer dependent on individual video performance, but rooted in your overall progress, your understanding of the process, and your ability to improve over time. And this stability allows you to stay consistent even when results fluctuate. At this stage, you also start thinking about scalability, how to manage your time better, how to streamline your workflow, how to possibly expand your content without compromising quality, and this strategic thinking helps you grow not just as a creator, but as someone building something sustainable. And then comes another important realization, that growth is not just about reaching new people, but about continuing to provide value to those who are already watching, because retaining your audience is just as important as expanding it. And this balance becomes a key part of your long-term success. In the end, this phase teaches you that mastery is a continuous process, not a final destination, and that the more you refine your craft, the more you realize there is still to learn. And it is this mindset of constant improvement that allows you to keep growing, evolving, and staying relevant in an ever-changing environment.